Looking at a couple positions we did not really target in depth wise, who's a defensive back, a cornerback, okay? Because feels like if you're Terrion, you might have to put out a song to say, hey, I need some help too. And I know Carlton's there and Amik's there, but every position group should always want more. Every position group should say, hey, go get a young guy. And I know that a lot of people, the Alabama guys were smart. Malachi Moore, the defensive back. I think more people are like, ah, we don't need a safety that much. You don't really need a guy that, but he's talented. So you look at it and you say, well, there's some opportunities to upgrade and look at defensive backs from the SEC, as Brad Holmes probably would like to target. Anybody that caught your eye from the workouts to say, hey, let's just not focus on pairing up Aiden with somebody. Let's pair up somebody with a tall, physical, fast, bad dude kind of guy that could be physical and play defensive back. Who fits that mold to you?
Yeah, I think that Daniel Jeremiah kind of called his shot earlier in the week with his conference call about Maxwell Hairston, who ran an unbelievable 44.28. He's a Michigan native, played at Kentucky. Physical guy, maybe appears a little small, but I think that the way he plays and when you watch him on tape, he can really mix it up. So that's one guy to keep an eye on. Originally, you could see him as a day two type of guy. I don't know that he gets out of the first round. Another position that's very valuable, and he's a fast one. So I think that he's going to be very trendy moving forward. Will Johnson didn't test, which I know a lot of the buzz around that wasn't great. He'll have the opportunity to work out at his pro day, and I think that a lot of the questions about where he's at as far as his injury and kind of the weird stretch of play that he had at Michigan in his final year, where he had a couple of huge pick sixes, but was also at sometimes just getting burnt, and it was super uncharacteristic after a really solid year, the year the Wolverines won the national title. So I think Will Johnson has some questions to answer, but I think that overall still a pretty talented player. If there's a world where he slips into the 20s, maybe the Lions take a chance on him. Jahdae Barron was another guy I had wrote down. Didn't test super like extraordinary. I believe he was just under 4.4 in the 40. But I still think that's a guy that just turn on the tape. Like watch him play, watch how savvy he is in coverage, watch how he really does an excellent job breaking up passes, getting the ball away from the wide receiver without committing penalties. Like I think that that's one thing that when you watch him play, that's one thing you'll pick up on fairly early. And then a name down the board that I had written down is another Iowa State guy, Darian Porter. I think it was an excellent week for Iowa State based on all these names that I had just jotted down coincidentally. Um, Converted wide receiver, doesn't have a ton of production, only played the position for a couple years at Iowa State, but athletically, physically, he measures up. He's got tools. And I think that that's a guy where if you trust the Chase Townsend and you want to focus on other needs, you could get him this guy and say, hey, here's a ball of clay, go mold it. And I think that Darian Porter is another guy who could be very intriguing as you get into the day two, day three, day four, or excuse me, round four.
Yeah, lots of intrigue in regards to what's available out there. I think that a lot of prospects now have come to light in regards to who can be a player that Brad Holmes targets. Clearly gritty, versatile. I think that, we're going to look to a lot of players from Texas, from Stanford, from the, SEC as well. So there's going to be some clues as to who can be drafted. And we'll start to profile some more fits as we talk and continue.